Of some more analysis on this, let's speak to TRT World's editor-at-large, Ahmed Burai, who's joining us live in the studio. Ahmed, always good to see you. So what do you make of what you heard from the president there calling on the Israelis to remove these security measures?
The president said it clearly that he condemned what's happening in Jerusalem, mainly after the eruption of violence. He believes that this is a place for the Muslims, and this excessive use of violence from the Israeli side does not help de-escalate the tension. The things should be on the ground that Jerusalem is under occupation. The noble sanctuary, or Al-Haram al-Sharif, is a place for the Muslims to practice their own worship. It's up to the Israeli soldiers, to the settlers, to be out from this place. Then you will not find any violence or escalation from the Palestinian side. According to the international law, this is a place that is under occupation in East Jerusalem.
Now, let's not forget there was a shooting there a week ago. And what do you make of the argument we heard coming from Greg in Tel Aviv, saying, you know, there are security measures, metal detectors at the Western Wall, you've got to protect people. What do you make of that argument that's been touted in Israel by many places?
Till this moment, these metal detectors, they're not activated. They're just installed there, but they're not active. So is the reason behind these metal detectors mainly security issues? Are they be able to prevent these kind of attackers from carrying guns and move to the place, to the mosque, and try to defend themselves there? I believe what is going to de-escalate and diffuse the tension in that place, it's one of the most sacred places for the Muslims, for the people to practice their own worships. So it's up to the Israeli forces to leave that place. They could have lots of measures to apply to prevent these kind of acts to happen again. It's these kind of creating a de facto or a status quo where the Palestinians will find themselves obliged to go through these metal detectors. Then it's not going to help them like reach the mosque at the time of the prayer. It's going to decrease the number. That is going to lead, the Palestinians believe, to more measures on the ground. It's not only if they accept the metal detectors now, this may lead to the division of the place between the Israeli Jews and the Palestinian Muslims. So this is going to lead to more retaliation, and it could lead to worsening the already escalated situation.
Absolutely, that's one of the fears, isn't it? This is like a slow creep towards the Israeli state taking full control of that area, and they do have some precedent in doing that in other historic sites, don't they?
That's the problem with the Israeli occupation. We're dealing with the causes. We forget about the main cause. They're coming to this operation that happens by the three Palestinians who came from al-Fahim, which is a city from within Israel. These people came, these three young people from the same family. They're holding guns. They're coming from Israel itself, and they think that they're doing this as a kind of revenge to the honor of the Muslims, because they see what's happening in or under the Al-Aqsa Mosque from these kind of Israeli measures on the ground. They're seeing that there is an imminent threat to their sacred place, shrine, and they think that this is the only way they could defend it. Now, the Israeli side, instead of doing this, it should be thinking of how to reactivate. It's even their peace partner, Mahmoud Abbas, is saying that we are going to freeze or suspend the mutual meetings and the security coordination because of the Israeli measures on the ground. So it seems that the Netanyahu and his ultra-nationalist cabinet is thinking or scrapping all the calls from the Arab and Muslim countries. That's why you would see that President Erdogan vehemently condemned and denounced the measures on the ground, and he said the Muslim countries will not stay silent if this practice is going to continue, because we cannot accept that our first Qibla, the masjid or the mosque of the Muslims, is being violated by the Israeli settlers, by the Israeli forces, which is something Turkey is not going to show any tolerance to this. And he's going to bring this to the Gulf states as well. There are talks now about normalizing relations between the Arab countries and Israel. Saudi Arabia is highly interested in this, and they think that the only enemy in the region is Iran. By these practices, I think they're putting more obstacles in front of any kind of normalization. The sincerity of Israel is not manifested on the ground by these kind of measures.
I'm glad you mentioned Saudi Arabia there, because the president is on a visit to the region. He'll be going to Saudi Arabia first. He also spoke about that in that press conference he gave a little while ago. Let's have a quick listen to what he had to say.
As of the first moment of the crisis in Qatar, we called for peace, dialogue, stability and solidarity. We've made the necessary recommendations to the parties for the easy resolution of the issue. Prolonging of the crisis will not benefit anyone. Those who benefit from that are seeking opportunities to fuel the fire between brothers. The negotiating efforts run by Sheikh Sabah, we support them. Along with region countries, other actors need to offer strong support to these efforts. And in that context, primarily the United States of America and members of the international community's activities, we find them to be beneficial and hope that they will contribute to a solution.
Now, an important diplomatic mission by the president to the region to try and resolve this crisis. What did you take from what you heard from him? He's trying to placate both sides, of course, because Turkey is a friend to both countries in the region.
The president's main objective of the whole trip is to first resolve the conflict among the brothers in the Gulf. But the challenge is that Turkey has already sided with Qatar. That's the perception in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. The president is not going to visit the United Arab Emirates. He's going mainly to visit Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, then Qatar, which send clear messages that it's the wise country, as he labeled them in Saudi Arabia, the King Salman. But again, the most important point is the economic partnership. I'll tell you something like you may not know that the bilateral relations, economic relations between Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates from the one hand, and Turkey exceeds $8.6 billion. And if you compare it, it's 20 times the mutual relationship between Qatar and Turkey. It's mainly $440 million. So for Turkey, both countries, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, along with Qatar, is a fixed asset, if you will, and they cannot abandon the relationships. It's not economic relationships, it's also the security production. There are colossal agreements between the Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Turkey from the other hand. That's why the president is highly interested in sending clear messages that it's not Turkey who is siding with Qatar. We are interested in having the GCC as one bloc with good relations and respect among themselves and with relations to Turkey.
We'll wait and see what comes out of that diplomatic mission. And just finally then, Ahmed, the president also spoke about the diplomatic spat ongoing with Germany at the moment. Let's take a listen to what he had to say about that.
The state of the Republic of Turkey has no investigations or prosecutions against any German company operating in Turkey. These are all false, fake, and made-up news. There's no such thing. What's going on is Turkish companies, those affiliated with FETÖ, some of them have some illegitimate enterprises overseas. It's oriented or aimed towards them. There's no such thing regarding German companies.
Well, I mentioned of business there, but I think the main point was that, Turkey and Germany are NATO allies, but Germany, other nations can't interfere in the judicial process that's going on here in Turkey.
Yeah, for Turkey, Germany relationship. It's been like strained relations. Sorry. And the tit for tat, if you will, policy, starting with the German parliament considering the Armenian killings as a genocide, the 1915. Then Turkey here prevented those MPs from visiting their soldiers in the Incirlik base. And that led to the redeployment of these soldiers to Jordan. And now the president is speaking about Germany being a haven to the terrorists and self-proclaimed journalists. This kind of rhetoric between fiery statements between the two states led to what we're seeing now. So it's basically what's happening recently, and the foreign minister of Germany saying that the companies, the German firms here in Turkey, they're being investigated, which was completely denied, is perceived here in Turkey as a stab in the back, because this is going to badly affect the economic relations between the two countries.
Ahmed Burai, thank you for your analysis.